Hello everyone, it is John, and I'm going to take a little trip down memory lane. I was trying to find an article for, which I may have mentioned in a previous video, trying to track down my copy of The Dragon Masters by Jack Vance. Still can't find it, but nevertheless I am slowly moving along and having a look at a few other things instead. So look, this is from White Dwarf number 38. And the thing that caught my eye was this: monsters have feelings too. How to make the most of your monsters. Now this was an issue from, by the way, this was when the White Dwarf magazine used to be worth its weight in gold. So when was this? February 1983. So even back in the early days of role-playing, people were looking and thinking intelligently. And what the article that I want to look at is this one here about monsters have feelings too. And it's really an interesting little article dealing with the fact that, look, your monsters are not unthinking creatures. Use your monsters creatively. You do not do like, I guess, those who are new to the hobby and those who think of nothing than, you know, the massive, what is it, the MMORPs? Is that what they call them? Anyway, things like World of Warcraft and things like that, where, you know, oh, we got a horde of creatures, we just run in and kill everything in sight. People can still do that, of course, but what this is looking at is that it's saying, look, monsters should be run intelligently. And it's a nice little article that covers this. And it was interesting here, he's got here like the first rule of monster behaviour. In all but few cases, a monster will value its life as much as any player character and will take any reasonable steps within its ability to preserve that life. Quite well and quite good, because quite honestly, you're not going to throw your life away against, you know, insurmountable odds, are you, really? The second rule is no monster should attack without having a known reason for doing so. Look, even back here we're saying, look, monsters should behave intelligently. And it's quite, I guess, refreshing? No, not really. It's just a vindication that, look, even back in the early days, people were thinking outside of the box and looking at how things could be run effectively. Another rule here is if a monster can achieve its aims without resorting to out-and-out violence and therefore putting its life at risk, it should do so. Yes. How many people see a monster and just go, huh, attack it immediately? You know, it could be, you know, fairly innocuous. Well, not an innocuous creature, but say, for instance, a manticore might be sitting guarding away. Could be a tollkeeper. It might be saying, look, I just maintain this route. If you pay me a silver piece, you can get to pass without an issue. Not all monsters are driven to just kill everybody and anything in sight. So yeah, it's a very interesting little article. I would highly recommend for people to track it down and have a good read of it. I'm not sure if Games Workshop have. I know that they've got an online subscription service where they say, oh, we've got back issues of White Dwarf, but I don't know whether or not they go back to the halcyon days of covering every and any. I refuse to support Games Workshop. They're a bit like Wizards of the Coast and Hasbro, where, you know, people are just treated as cash cows. But this is, I think, quite an interesting article. They've got here extracts from the Urukai Battle Manual, and in which case here they're looking at the things that in this case, I think it's a half-orc, has written saying, this is what we will do. You know, terrain, sentries and communication, what you need to do. Reaction and alarm, it's saying here at least a quarter of the main fighting force should be on full alert at any given time. You know, this is what I tend to do with a lot of my role-playing games, is that I try to run my creatures intelligently, and after all, I think it says here that in the last paragraph it says, just as a character in a good campaign is more than a few numbers written on a piece of paper, and a world something the players can interact with rather than just a few maps upon which they can move around, so the world's monsters should have depth and believability beyond basic descriptions. Just as the players should try to bring their characters to life, so the game master should with monsters. Monsters may not be people, but they do have feelings. And in here it says the following is an example of what use this article could be put to. The orcs have found it most useful. So yeah, look, that is my 2 cents worth about this. And look, any role-playing game, if you've got adversaries within your adventure, is that not all of them should be unthinking creatures that are there for, you know, for the murder hobos. But yeah. All right, everybody, look, thank you very much for your time. Go find this article, Monsters Have Feelings Too. It's from White Dwarf number 38. Thanks for your time. Till next time, signing off, the Honourable John.